Hi, I'm Zach,
And I'm Lindsay.
and this is the Game Forums Extended Forum episode 17. Today we're going to be talking about some Naughty Dog news, Assassin's Creed, a Switch breach, Clone Wars. But first, what have you been playing?
So this week I got back into a little bit more Crossout, the game that just won't ever leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, they've got a another event going on right now. It's their Spring Mayhem,
Yeah.
and I have to say this is probably the most balanced reward system they've ever done. Because I've complained about it in the past, where it's like your performance is tied to the performance of your teammates, which
Yeah.
is incredibly annoying. Now you get so many points for what you do during a match. Like every time you kill someone, every time you get an assist, it gives you points. And each level you go up, like requires, it's almost like it takes a couple points off per each time you play,
Yeah.
uh, but you continue to level up and get more points. So, like if you go in and the current level I'm at takes 4 points per match, but if I do some kills, get some assists, I might get 20 points per match. So I go up like 16 points. Once I go up around 200 points, I'll get to the next level and unlock a new piece of gear and be able to get to the next one. So to me, it does take a little longer, but this is definitely the most balanced system they've put out so far. So I really enjoy it.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's cool that they're still because that season's done, right? The one you had talked about last week.
Yeah, this isn't the season pass. This is just one of their, I guess, seasonal events. It's not a battle pass. They're,
Oh,
this is something separate from the battle pass.
is the battle pass still going on?
I think the battle pass has already ended now.
Oh, okay.
I got to the max level on it, so I haven't really been paying attention to it after that. This is just another one of their seasonal events. So not as many parts as the battle pass, but it also doesn't last as long. It's just a special mode they put out. Um, Other than that, I did play a little bit more Stranded Deep. It's kind of one of the games, like the more I play it and understand about it, the kind of more I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I built a much bigger raft. I've been going out and exploring a lot of the other islands, and I've got enough stuff to where I can build a motor for my boat and stuff now. So
Oh wow.
probably gonna do that soon, but I need to build like a fuel depot so I can keep fuel in the boat.
Yeah. So you were saying that you're interested in probably making a video with that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back and do a Stranded Deep video for beginners because there's a lot of stuff I've learned that the game doesn't really tell you that
Yeah.
would be like a tremendous help. So I do think I'm gonna go back in and just do a quick video of some of the stuff I've learned to hopefully save some other people a little bit of time and effort.
Cool. I mean, I guess we should have that maybe this week, next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and have it out this week.
Oh, okay. Cool. Did you play any Final Fantasy?
I did not play any Final Fantasy this week.
Oh. So, like speaking of Final Fantasy, I put in quite a bit since we last recorded. I think I'm chapter 11 now, about 20 hours in, and last I had spoke, I mean the game's fine. I have some pretty big issues with it, but then like chapter 9 and 10 were really really good.
Hmm.
There was a lot of story points that happened that I was like, oh okay. It still has the I don't know the juvenileness that I'm just like, oh, okay, it's whatever. But then it really switches over to a little bit more mature, and it's like oh okay, this is cool. I see what they're trying to do with this. And there's one scene in particular, not a scene, but like a gameplay segment
Yeah.
that was super fun, and it's pretty far into the game, so I can't wait for you to get to it and see what you think. But I was having such a blast. It was so fun. I still got a while to go. I'm slowly making my way through this game. But okay, and so now this next game I had downloaded on Xbox. via the Game Pass. And I was like, okay, I'll play it, but I'm not no rush, but I'll play it. And that's Rage 2. It came out, I think, June or July of last year. Maybe no, May. I think it came out in May, and it wasn't received very well at all. And this is made by Avalanche with help from ID Studios, who made the Doom games. And Avalanche had made Mad Max, and that was like I loved that game. It was so good, and I never really like thought about like, oh, this is the same team that made Mad Max, so maybe this is gonna feel like it. And it had gone on sale on the PSN store, so I picked it up, and I was like, okay, I'll just play it. I mean, even though I have it for free on my Xbox, which currently isn't where I'm living, it's in another place right now. And so I was just feeling like playing Rage. I was just whatever. I just wanted to play it. I probably put in like 6 hours so far.
Oh wow.
Um, Rage 2, for some reason, just did not do well critically, and I guess commercially either. But I'm having so much fun with this game. It's like the bombasticness of Borderlands mixed with the gameplay of Doom, like the quick cut kind of moving around. You can dash around. You have powers of Doom, but then it has like the crazy like customization and like leveling up system of like a deep RPG, because there's the overall map has these three people that you can do missions for, and each mission will give them XP, and when you level them up, they unlock these projects, and you have to use these project points, which I still haven't found out exactly how you get them, and they unlock different things. So for like, there's one person who's kind of the doctor, you can unlock the ability to hold more med kits, or you can unlock these infusions that make you more powerful or faster. And then for this girl, that's kind of like the the tech person. Your vehicle, which there's vehicles in this game, you can add new things to it. You can take stuff away, move stuff around, and then you can customize the vehicle themselves, and you can also upgrade the vehicle themselves. And then there's also the weapons, and you can upgrade all the weapons. There's different levels, and then there's different perks within those levels that you can pick. There's also the abilities. You can level up your abilities, but then within the next levels of those abilities, unlock new perks that you can upgrade too. And there's like 5 different progression systems that are happening all at once. And it's this huge open world. You have a vehicle, you have money. There's like 4 different currencies that deal with like different things. You can go to these huge trader towns, and it's just like this game is unbelievable, and it runs well. I do have a PS4 Pro, but it's close to 60 FPS, and it's like it looks awesome. And I was just completely blown away by like how fun this game was.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I remember seeing some of the trailers about it, but I'm not familiar with its gameplay elements as much. For whatever reason, I just never paid much attention to it.
Like it feels so good. Like when you have the machine gun and you aim down the sights, and you got the it's kind of like a holographic scope, but it's like the holographic metal part, but the actual like dot is kind of like the red dot sight, and it's like pinpoint. And when you shoot the enemy, there's this red square that pops up for every bullet hit, and then a red skull will appear once you get the kill. And I don't know, it's visually satisfying, and I haven't played a game like that in a long time. I guess it's a nice surprise considering that I had such low expectations for this game, considering that it was so poorly received. But then playing it, I'm like, okay, this deserves at least an 8.5, from like general speaking media outlets. But for some reason, it was getting like sixes and sevens. I was
Huh.
very upset about that now, even though the game came out about a year ago. But it's so fun, and I'm looking at the trophy list, and I'm like, oh my god, I can platinum this too. Like this is the perfect game, and it's got the systems of Assassin's Creed, which I love Assassin's Creed, and you can like there's your question marks pop up, and you go to the question mark, and then it unlocks the thing, and then it's got like there's an outpost, and you can go to that outpost, and then it's got okay, kill all the goons, find all the chests, and then find this arc chest. And then it's like, oh, okay, cool. So you got to go there and you got to clear out the location. Then you get the little green check mark around the item now, or around the map icon. And I'm like, oh man, this is like the perfect game at the perfect time. I
That's
love it.
awesome.
All right, so moving on to the news. That's all I really played was just those two games. So, what was it? Recording this Sunday. So last Sunday night, there was a huge Last of Us Part Two not leak, and I unfortunately was spoiled, and it was heartbreaking. But it's not the end. I mean, it's not the end of the world. When it comes down to it, it's a video game. Have you been spoiled yet?
I
You've been
have
good.
not. I have managed to avoid all the stuff so far.
Okay, cool. Because you only got 6 more weeks, so hopefully we can pull through. But so as of I believe this was on Thursday, the leaker got caught from Sony, and it turns out there's no connection to Sony. There's no connection to Naughty Dog. It's actually they found out that someone had hacked a patch for an older game, which gave them. They found there was a security vulnerability to where they were able to get into Naughty Dog servers and pull video from pre-release footage that was being shared within the Naughty Dog development team to like they're sending each other things on a VPN,
Yeah.
and so they were able to like hack on and like grab it. Now that could also not be true. Sony would get a lot of crap if they were found out that one of their own employees, leaked their own
So
game due to crunch or whatever.
I had originally heard that this was by one of the people working for Naughty Dog, so that turned out not to be true.
No, it wasn't true. That was the rumor that was going on for a while. I even thought it was true, but it came down to where it was a group of hackers that were able to get into a server for Naughty Dog. But we don't know if that's 100% true. The people that are telling us that are the people that got affected. So they have everything to gain, everything to lose.
Yeah, this is very true. Um, Now, in another data breach, Nintendo had their 160,000 accounts on the Switch got hacked, and a
Yeah,
lot of people are reporting that as people broke into their accounts, they were spending their currency, like actual money, in video games like Fortnite and all this other stuff.
yeah.
So Nintendo has a huge headache to deal with now, trying to figure out how to make this right by everybody. Um, Best advice right now, if you haven't been affected or affected yet, is immediately change your password
Yeah.
because this is still going on. There's still a lot of people who are logging onto their Switch to find that someone has bought something with the currency they had. And from the sound of this, it sounds like if you had money already on your Switch, that they could use that for something they want, but it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like they were able to access and steal your actual credit card information.
Well, that's kind
Some
of
do it.
better.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a little better, but not a whole lot.
Ah, man, that's really unfortunate. And it really sucks that that happens like around the same time that Naughty Dog, had their leak. And then there's even another leak that happened, I believe, yesterday, but nothing's been like substantiated yet. That I'm sorry, that Nintendo is not going to be able to do a E3 video in June like they normally do because the work from home has kind of affected them. So
Mhm.
Nintendo is going to have a pretty crappy year because if you think about it, before Animal Crossing, the last first party in quotation marks game to come to the Switch exclusively was Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that came out in November.
Oh,
So
wow.
from November to March, there was nothing, and from March until nothing's been announced. Nothing has a confirmed release date from March on. So it's completely possible that like Nintendo doesn't deliver anything until later in the year. So it could be like a game came out in November, a game came out in March, and then a game came out in another November, September, October fall release, which that's going to be crazy for Nintendo. They've had such a really great year, but then again, I mean, if the middle of the pandemic probably really screwed them up, and I know there were some Switch shortages with the Animal Crossing bundle.
Still, though, that's a long time. Like, what is Nintendo doing? Where are all their first party games in this?
Yeah, there's a rumor that they're remastering a bunch of Mario games because this year is the 35th year of Mario, which I don't know why 35 years is a big deal. Maybe that's I don't understand that. But there's rumors that they're remastering like Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, a whole bunch of these games. and they were probably going to announce that in June. But the thing is, like, oh, we're not going to have a June, video. They could still do it in August. It's not like it's not the end of the world if they don't hit that June week of E3.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let's have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens out of that.
Yeah. So on Thursday, we got a tiny taste of next gen with Assassin's Creed Valhalla being revealed. Now, did you happen to catch how it was revealed?
I did not catch how it was revealed. I did watch the video, though.
Okay. The cinematic trailer?
Yes.
Okay. It got revealed in the most awesome way possible. At 8 a.m., they started a live stream of this digital artist, Boss Logic. Just he just made a key art from the game, like from scratch, and it was unbelievable. It took about 8 hours and 10 minutes, but it was unbelievable. I may or may not have left the stream on for 8 hours to watch the whole thing, but that's not important. So the trailer, the cinematic trailers showed a lot. Now they're notorious for doing cinematic trailers without showing gameplay, which they did. The gameplay, however, is going to be revealed next week at the Xbox event, which we will cover a little later in the show. But for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like I am beyond excited for this game. It's going to be set with Vikings, if you haven't got that already from Valhalla, and it's going to be going against is it Saxons or Sextons? I couldn't remember.
I think it's the Saxons.
Okay, is it Anglo or Anglo Saxons?
Anglo-Saxons.
Okay, so I had it right. Okay, um, so there's going to be a settlement. So it's going to be like your home base that you can build up, which sounds really good. And then the missions will take place in there, meaning that like story beats will happen, and then you kind of move out from there. You can marry into other settlements. You can bring power. I'm sure there's going to be like takeovers and stuff. I am so excited for this. You have no idea.
Yeah, no, it looks really cool. And I definitely have a feeling with the graphics, like looking this good, especially after playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I kind of get a feeling when you get into the actual game, you're going to have this big, cool opening cutscene, and then it's just going to pan around behind the character, and your HUD's going to load in, and that's just what it's going to look like.
Oh yeah.
Because games are getting ridiculous now.
Yeah, they are. It's they're going to look insane and be huge, and I can't wait.
All right, I guess the next bit of news we got for anyone who's interested in Star Wars, the Clone Wars final season is finally coming to a close. There's only one episode left, but for anyone who has missed it, this last arc has been amazing. This has been the ending of the Clone Wars season, and what they're doing is they're going in and following the siege of Mandalore, which is taking place coinciding with the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. And some of the ties they do on it help shed light on some of the events going on from other people's perspectives. And I'm not going to ruin anything, but I highly advise anyone who's interested in Star Wars to at least go in and watch these last couple episodes, because it has been probably some of the best episodes of the Clone Wars they've done so far.
So, speaking of that AC reveal, May 7th, Xbox is going to be revealing some Series X games. They haven't really come out and said it clearly, but they had talked about their global partners, and that normally means like third parties, and which makes sense. You want to kind of like show the third party games, get the attention first, and then eventually show your first party games. So that way you have that huge impact of like, this is what's exclusive. Now, there is going to be some gameplay from Assassin's Creed Vikings, which I'm excited for. But what do you think they're going to have? I think they're going to have Cyberpunk heavily.
Yeah, I definitely think, especially after showing off the Xbox One that's fully customized in the Cyberpunk look,
Yeah.
I think Xbox is really heavily betting on that partnership carrying them a lot. I would expect to see a lot more footage off of Cyberpunk, maybe some trailers for the next Halo or Gears, because those are what they tend to fall back on at their launch of all the consoles. And then maybe some other types of services or abilities the console has that they haven't talked about yet.
Yeah. Now, with Call of Duty releasing Warzone and it being such a massive success, and they have even come out and said, like they've earned more money through the battle pass than they ever have of microtransactions and loot boxes.
Hmm.
What do you think the probability is that Activision teams with Xbox and releases the new Call of Duty day one on Game Pass?
Hmm, that'd be hard to say because putting it on Game Pass for a title that big, Activision's going to want some serious money. Um, I'm
I
not saying
think,
Xbox wouldn't do it.
yeah,
I would be kind of surprised if it went to Game Pass immediately simply because that's a big title.
yeah. And my only argument to that is that Activision maybe can see the numbers that Game Pass is doing, and they could be like, "Whoa, we can get, potentially 10 million people day one playing it, and then like if you get a 3 million people from that buy, I mean, honestly, it'd probably be like 7 or 8 million people of the 10 would buy the battle pass because it's only $10, and it's like you get so much content, and that's for Warzone. They could possibly not do the same thing for the next Call of Duty. I thought about that because like Xbox had the marketing rights for Call of Duty, and then with the PS4 launch, they obviously went to PS4 because Xbox kind of flubbed up everything.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
want. Do you think they're going to switch over?
I think I don't know if they'd switch over immediately, but I do think if the Xbox starts outperforming the PlayStation next gen, I
Yeah,
do think they'd switch back. But I say it'd be very hard to say if they're going to switch over before they start seeing the sales numbers,
that
because
is true.
what if they switch over and Xbox has another terrible launch and PlayStation's killing it? Then they're going to lose a ton of money.
That is true. I wish they would just like it really like marketing rights is fine, but when you add like exclusive things, it's kind of messed up. Like the survival mode and Modern Warfare is
Yeah.
exclusive for like a year. I think in November of this year it'll be on Xbox, and then the single player campaign of Modern Warfare 2 remastered just came out like a few days ago, finally for Xbox. Like
Yeah,
that's a little unfair.
I wish they would just drop the exclusivity stuff and let people play together. I get that everyone wants money, and the consoles. PlayStation wants people to play on PlayStation and not Xbox, and they have to give you a reason to do that. But it is really annoying to divide the fan base like that.
Yeah, like even Final Fantasy VII Remake is exclusive to the PlayStation 4 for a year, and then it'll come to Xbox next year, which is
Yeah,
insane because that's going to be a
that's a
like
very big title to have that long of a time where another console can't play it.
yeah, and especially at the very end of a console. Well, not the console life cycle, but the year right before the new console's launch. It's like, oh, okay, we'll go out with a bang. Final Fantasy VII is one of the biggest games ever. So it's going to be. There's so many like new factors that are going to come up with this, and it's like with the PS5 and the new Xbox comes out, like they can't really kill off their previous gen people, and so it's like, how long are they going to support, the PS4 games, and then how long are they going to support Xbox One? This is going to be really interesting because it's really like this hasn't happened before. It's not like a cold cut to next gen like it was last time. This
No,
is like a
it's gonna.
merge.
Yeah, I was about to say it's going to be much more of like a gray, like gradient from one to the other instead of just immediately shifting from one to the other. But I also think like the next gen consoles will be much more similar in their architecture to the current gen ones. Like I feel like we've about got to that level of like refinement to where the PlayStation and Xbox stores, they work. They're pretty much going to be how they are. They might add or tweak a couple things, but it's not like a complete overhaul from some of the past generations where, there was no store or anything like that.
Yeah, and another interesting aspect is going to be like with Xbox, they have promoted the whole smart delivery to where if you buy a game on Xbox One, you have it for the Xbox Series X. Now, you would think that because they haven't really spoken clearly on that, meaning because if you buy the game on Xbox One and you put that disc, which is an Xbox One disc, into the Series X, is it going to read it as an Xbox One game with upgrades through the hardware, or is it going to download a digital patch that makes it into the Series X version?
I'm going to assume you'd have to just re-download the game, because it's not going to be coded quite the same. I wouldn't think.
Yeah,
So if you have, the Xbox One edition, and then you download that on the next gen console, you're probably going to have to just delete that, upload, re-download the Xbox Series X version, and then it'll load in your save file. Is what I'm going to guess happens.
that's what I'm guessing too. And so far, Sony hasn't announced anything similar to that for the PS5, which is really unfortunate because with the Assassin's Creed game, the pre-orders are live now on the Ubisoft store, and they have the collector's edition. And I really, really, really want it. And you can only pre-order PC, Xbox One, or PS4. And I don't want it for PS4. I want it for PS5. But
Yeah.
I don't know, like if I get it on PS4, will I have the PS5 copy, or am I gonna have to buy another copy? I
I
will if I have to, but
I definitely think they need to go in and clarify some of that. Like they
yeah,
really haven't yet. PlayStation, I feel like they were going to try and like put all their cards on the table around April or May.
yeah,
But with all this stuff going on, I think it's really delayed them from doing anything because they're not sure, everything's so up in the air due to all this virus stuff. So now I think they're waiting too long, and I think if they wait much longer, it's going to really start messing with their rollout. So I think they need to get back on the ball and have a big reveal, start putting their cards on the table, and start answering some questions.
yeah. I agree.
Um, Another game that was just revealed the other day is Jedi Fallen Order 2 has now been confirmed for 2022. So they just started putting this game in development. Looks like they're going to take about 2 years to develop it. But this also means that the first game, to nobody's surprise, did well enough for them to go ahead and nail down making a sequel. I think this probably surprised EA a little bit. They seem to have pretty much given up on the whole single player games. They just wanted to really focus in on the multiplayer aspects of stuff. Um, but I'm definitely glad to see it did well enough to get a sequel, and I'm excited to see what they end up doing in the sequel. Um, I kind of get a feeling that they're going to jump it forward a bit in the timeline and try and tie it into somewhere closer around the Mandalorian. Maybe Kyle Kestis has grown up a bit now.
That would be cool if he kind of becomes a mentor. Um, well, I guess I don't want to spoil the end of the game.
No, that's not spoil the end of the game, but I mean, obviously, he ends up living through it for them to have a sequel.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you could there the way the game ended, there's a possibility that you could be playing someone that isn't Cal Kestis, but you could be directly like linked to him.
Yes.
And so like they kind of like set them up to be like, hey, we can do whatever we want as long as we get the approval from Disney, and I think they do. I think they got it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Disney, liked the sale of this, and especially taking a lot of eyes off EA's botched Battlefront 2. Um,
Yeah.
but I think this is going to be toward the end of EA's contract with Disney. So I'm wondering if this is going to be enough for Disney to stick with EA for the licensing of Star Wars games, or if they're going to end up opening it up to more studios after this.
I think Disney being as big as they are, they're going to open it to other studios. To just to whoever, like I would love a open world bounty hunter game from Ubisoft.
Yeah,
Like that would be it. Take the team that makes the Assassin's Creed games and make a bounty hunter game set in the Star Wars universe.
that would
Like
be pretty
that's
cool.
all I want. So Jeff Keighley, are you familiar with this gentleman?
I've heard the name. I'm bad at remembering exactly what he does.
Oh, okay. he's pretty much like the godfather of all hype game announcement. He runs the game awards. He has opening night live or one night live at Gamescom. He did Judges Week for E3, which is where you get a bunch of like media influencers to play a lot of the games before E3 to do the whole like uh, game of show at E3 or like stuff like that. They kind of come in and like make those decisions, and he does a lot of this stuff. And he had announced prior to this whole coronavirus thing happening that he wasn't going to be working with the ESA for E3 this year, and that was kind of like, oh, this isn't good. There was a lot of tweets that were thrown at him, asking why, and he was saying like, oh, their vision just didn't really line up to mine. And so people were like, oh, okay, well, I guess that means E3 is done. And obviously E3 is canceled this year.
Yeah.
But then Jeff Keighley was like, well, hey, I'm starting the Summer Games Festival from May until August. And he's getting pretty much everyone that was going to be at E3 plus people that weren't. Like he has Microsoft and Sony, which is insane. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, like he's gonna have it's basically E3, but instead of a week, it's from May until August, and there's going to be little splotches of content that's going to drop, starting with the Xbox reveal or the Xbox Series the Xbox Series X games reveal on the 7th. That's a part of the Summer Games Fest, and it's going to end at the one night live at Gamescom. It's going to be like that's the cap of everything, and then that's his big like he did a what was it? He did something big for Death Stranding last year. He's a huge Kojima fan. I think he announced that he was in the game at that stage, and so he's a huge like game announcement guru. He gets a lot of people together. I think 2018 or 2019. I think 2018. He was notorious for well, not notorious. He managed to get Reggie Fils-Aimé, Phil Spencer, and Sean Layden all on stage at the same time. And they're all, they had PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo all like next to each other, and it was super awesome.
Huh. Yeah, I definitely think with him organizing something like this in the midst of this coronavirus, this is probably could be something that could kill E3 for sure.
Oh
Where
yeah,
where it's a much more informal thing where people are just putting videos out in this certain month. They're already kind of used to having things ready by this time anyway, due to E3 being at the same time. Um, so I kind of feel like this might be the nail in the coffin for E3 at this point. Um,
yeah,
and with that being said, I know PlayStation's been trying to get some stuff together to put out some big announcements. I would not be surprised if they take advantage of this and put out what their console looks like, a bunch of stuff about their games on the console during this event, and especially at that one night live.
yeah. There's so much potential, and no one knows what he's going to do. I mean, Jeff Keighley kind of has like crazy announcements. He's very good at keeping stuff a secret and then revealing it in such a cool way. So him having the freedom of 4 months to just kind of like place it where he wants. He's working with all these developers. I think he's like Square Enix, WB, Bethesda is going to be a part of it. Xbox, Ubisoft, like everyone's going to be taking part in this, and it's like it's so cool. And what's even crazier is that IGN is also doing a summer games thing, and so is GameSpot. They're having like these. I'm assuming they're going to focus more on indie titles, but it's like what a month ago we were kind of like, oh man, this year's going to suck for games, and now all of a sudden it's like we have so many things that could happen on top of the new consoles coming out.
I think a lot of studios, have had things that they were ready to put out. It's just with all this going on, they've kind of lost a lot of their platform to really get it out there to people to show it off.
Yeah, and you got to think of like all the indie developers that depended on stuff like E3, GDC, the PAX. I think that's it. Yeah, like they were like, hey, this is where we get to go to showcase our game in hopes that we get a publisher to pick us up. And now all of a sudden that's thrown out the window. And so having these opportunities to where it's like, let's say June 22nd or whatever Jeff Keighley or IGN or whoever is setting it up could be like, hey, here's an indie focused showcase. And then is so your game that would have been like put off to the side during E3 is getting a major focus, which is that's going to help the ecosystem and development for indie studios, and that could fluff out a lot of the launch issues that we may have game wise on the PS5 and the Series X, which that could help having more games even if they're smaller.
Yeah. I guess another bit of pretty big news this week too. AMC just announced that they're banning Universal movies from showing in their theaters when they reopen. We're going to do a more in-depth video on this because I think this has a lot more, could lead to a lot more complications in the industry than just this one story. But the gist of this is Universal had the movie Trolls World Tour, and they had it finished, and they were, I guess, not really taking it all that seriously. So they're like, well, we can't really put it out in theaters because all the theaters are closed. So they made deals with other streaming companies to stream it online instead. And the interesting part about this is due to the way the movie theaters take a percentage of the cut at its premiere week or first 2 weeks, Universal actually ended up making far more money than they would have if they had just put it on theaters like normal. This kind of scares AMC and some of the other movie theaters, thinking that they might start doing this more often.
Yeah.
So to prevent other chains from doing this, they've decided to temporarily, I'm assuming this is temporary until they can work out a deal with Universal, to ban their movies from their theaters, which is a really big deal because they're the U.S.'s biggest movie chain.
Yeah, and it's going to be crazy because I feel like AMC is kind of shooting themselves in the foot with this.
Yeah, I don't feel like this is going to work out well for AMC, but I kind of get that they're backed into a corner with this.
Yeah, they kind of have to like make a stand, being like, "Hey, we're not cool with this," but this is like, yeah, this is going to drastically change movie going experiences to the point to where they may be the next blockbuster.
Yep. Definitely check out. We're going to do an episode on that. It should already be out by the time this video posts, but check out that video for a more in-depth look and discussion on what this means for movie theaters in general moving forward.
Yep. And so the next news story, it's not really a news story, it's more of a rumor. There is a rumor that the PS5 reveal is going to be June 4th. I'm assuming that it'll be a part of the Summer Games Fest from Jeff Keighley. I would imagine that if they do that, that they're just going to go all out. They're not going to split it into two like what I'm assuming Xbox is doing. They're just going to be like, hey, here's our console, here's the games, here's the services, here's everything.
I tend to think if they do it, they're probably going to break it up some.
You think?
I think so because they don't want to oversaturate the market with all the news on PlayStation. Like they'll probably put out like, this is the console, and then they'll probably show off some games, and then they'll probably save some more games and some more features for another date.
Yeah.
Just because anytime they put out something big, it's going to be a big publicity thing for PlayStation. So I don't see them dropping everything they have all at one time.
Yeah.
But I do see them putting out a good bit of stuff to make up for what are they doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting, and I do hope they do something soon. Maybe even like the end of May. Maybe they'll speed up some things with Xbox announcing that they're doing something on May 7th. Maybe they'll be like, okay, well, we need to hurry up and get something. We don't need Xbox to take the whole all the focus for an entire month. But then again, if Sony is confident in what they're doing and what they have to announce, then Sony is gonna let Xbox play with their ball, and then Sony's gonna snatch it out of their hand, and But we don't know. It could go bad.
Yeah, it's all a matter of what Sony ends up having lined up. I guess apart from that, there was a trailer you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah. So there was two trailers. One was Hunt Down, and one was Hypercharged Unboxed. And Hypercharge Unboxed is like that. It's like a toy game. It's like a first-person shooter where you play as toys, and it looked really cool.
You see, this one really reminded me of Toy Soldiers War Chest. It's a
Yeah,
game I played. Can't remember if it was the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3, but it's been a while ago.
yeah,
Looked very similar, and I had fun with that game. It was a cool concept. Apparently, this game is out on Switch and has been out on Switch for a little while, and it's now coming to PC.
yeah.
So no news on if it's coming to Xbox or PlayStation yet, but definitely one we're probably keep an eye open for.
Yeah, it looked interesting, and I would not be surprised if it comes to PS4. And then the other trailer was Hunt Down. I don't know why, but this game just really grabbed my attention. I thought it was super funny. It looked cool. Like the trailer was really good. It was really building like world lore and showing all these, the characters and then all the different factions in the game. Like this, it just looks super cool to me.
No, I definitely liked their sense of humor with it. It was very like over the top 80s action movie kind of
Yeah,
humor to it. I just don't really get into the pixel games as much. Like I like a little bit more polish to it than that. This is very well done for what it is, but it's probably not one I'll really get in and play.
yeah. There's a few of the pixel art style games that I enjoy. This one, there was that one line. It was like the guy with the metal jaw. He was a man ever since he was a boy. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it is so funny. But yeah, there's a few games that have caught my attention that I've played, and this one definitely did. I'm definitely going to be looking at the release date, see when it comes out. I don't know if I'm going to review it, but I definitely want to do maybe like a mini first impressions. Maybe we could even both do it, just because it would be kind of cool. It'd be you're not a huge pixel art fan, and then I'm kind of slightly, but we're both. Well, I mean, it kind of works out in a cool way because I like pixel art games more than you do. You like RoboCop more than I do,
Yeah.
and so it could be like a cool like mixture of our two what we prefer.
Yeah, no, we definitely have to end up looking about that when it comes out.
Yeah. So I guess that sums up the extended forum.
Yep.
Uh, this will be live on Wednesday or Monday.
Wednesday.
All right.
I guess until then, leave a comment down below and tell us what you thought about everything. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.